Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alberto Chavez. I work as an operations manager for the Florida Coastal Office, part of DEP. And today I want to address a fairly new program for the Florida Coastal Office, and it's our ecotourism program. So we've heard a lot of really amazing presentations, and now I want to take you on a mental journey. So let's go to the coast of Florida, and let's have a look at some of the most pristine parts of our coastline. I would say one of our most important gems that we have in our state. And the Florida Coastal Office, just a brief introduction, is responsible for our aquatic preserve system. How many of you are familiar with the aquatic preserve system? I'm preaching to the choir pretty much. We have 41 aquatic preserves scattered around our perimeter, and they cover approximately 4 million square acres of protected, mostly submerged lands. And part of the Florida Coastal Office, we also have 3 National Estuarine Research Reserves. As a matter of fact, I serve as a regional operations manager from more or less Tampa Bay all the way down to Marco Island. I'm stationed at the Rookery Bay National Estuarine Research Reserve. So we have 3 National Estuarine Research Reserves, a similar program to the Charlotte Harbor NEP. And on our final component of the Florida Coastal Office is the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. All these 3 programs are state and federal partnerships of different sorts. The Aquatic Preserve program is a partnership with NOAA. The same thing applies to the National Estuarine Research Reserves and the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. So talking a little bit about ecotourism, this is very new to the Florida Coastal Office. We have just started piloting some of these things, so everything that I will address today is, some of these things are still in the making, so some of these things we're already piloting and already doing. But the program revolves around primarily conservation and restoration, and that's fundamentally our mission, with a very strong component of environmental education and the desire of opening these pristine aquatic preserves for people to engage in a sustainable way and to learn and experience the very best, or one of the very best things, a little biased, of the things that we have in our state. So the first component of our EcoTour program that I want to address is training for professionals. And through the Rookery Bay Reserve, we have had this program, I think, going on for over a decade. And we've partnered with different institutions, with Moran and the Charlotte Harbor NEP, and with the Society for Ethical Ecotourism. And for a little bit, we were not delivering these programs, but we're bringing them back. As a matter of fact, as you can see, today we had a program about fish and other critters, training ecotour operators on how to better identify these species. So this is something now that we will like to begin to address now on a regional basis, and what we do here is we provide knowledge, skill sets for all of those that work in the ecotour program and provide ecotours, and now that can be on the private sector or on the public sector as well. How many of you are related to any kind of ecotour operation? Yep, quite a few. And a little aspect to bring up, we did some research on this, and there's not a whole lot of data, but all the data that we were able to find points at that the visitors and the people of Florida really are looking for more opportunities to experience the environment. hands-on outdoor experiences. So that's one of our drivers to put these programs together. The other program involves our community very heavily. And the Florida Coastal Office has started a program of community service organizations, just like our state parks have. Most of our parks have a community service organization. In this case, what I'm displaying here is the page of the Rookery Bay, the Friends of Rookery Bay website. And in a partnership with them, we have started opening a series of very unique outdoor experiences. They're very different than those than a traditional kayak or boat tour in this case, in the sense that they are much closely, or the topics discussed or interpreted are much more closely related to the kind of work that we do, to the kind of experiences that we have as managers of coastal submerged lands or lands. So it's not just natural history interpretation, it's also all about the work that we do and the things that we do on a regular basis. So these are ongoing. Right now they are seasonal, and I think it's our first start in our region at least, and maybe across the entire state, for the Florida Coastal Office to partner with a community service organization to deliver these ecotour opportunities. We have at Rookery Bay that small boat, Tringa, has a capacity for only 6 people, and we have acquired 10 kayaks to go out, and it's a very successful program. People enjoy the different spin on an outdoor education, so much more centered around coastal stewardship. A very new program that was added to our Florida statutes, and the statute's right there if you want to have a look, is the Florida Coastal Office, or the Florida Department of Environmental Protection / Florida Coastal Office concession program. Concession programs are not new to the state in terms of having outdoor and outfitters be part of that, but this is one that relates to our coastline and more our submerged lands. The specifics as how this program is going to be implemented, as I say there, is still in the works. So there are new designated staff, and I can provide the contact names for them, and they are the ones in charge of implementing this program. I assume for some of you this can be an interesting opportunity to engage with the Florida Coastal Office and engage with our the different things that we have here forward. And part of this concession program is to develop a trust fund that can be put together towards other conservation programs. The next one is a best management practices program, also in the works, very new, and still being developed. This one is at even a more incipient stage of development. We're piloting a few things. We are looking for public and private input on these from different partners, from our community. And some of you might be familiar with what we have here in our region, which is the Society for Ethical Ecotourism certification program for ecotour providers. One thing that I would like to say is that this is more a volunteer set of best practices for ecotour operators, a little bit resembling more what the Leave No Trace program would be, not so much a certification program. So it's a different type of tool that we look forward to implement as an agency with those ecotour operators, revolving around similar practices, I would say. As a matter of fact, we looked into C's certification extensively to see what aspects of those we wanted to highlight in the BMP program. I would say both programs are complementary and make for a stronger strategy for overall better stewardship and better utilization of our pristine coastlines. And with that, that's all what I have prepared for you. So this was a short presentation, but I welcome any questions that you might have.
Some years back, there was a change in some of the buffer preserves, you're probably familiar with, may have been before your time, where the buffer preserves, anything above mean high water, went to the parks. They were formerly part of the overall aquatic preserves, and there was more of a meshing between the upland buffers and the aquatic preserves now. There's, in my opinion, kind of an artificial boundary, particularly relative to what you're talking about, since the aquatic preserves are just pretty much everything below mean high water. So my question is, how is the Florida Coastal Office, which used to be CAMA, and I used to work long ago in that, going to work with the Park Service to make this work, since you may have different strategies, even though you're in the same agency?
That's a very good question. A lot of our, and that's all still in the same way. So the submerged lands are pretty much part of the Florida Coastal Office, and lands are usually, I'm not quite sure, sometimes in proximity of parks. I don't know exactly if that applies to all 41, but if I have a mental picture, I think it does apply for many of them. And it's a continuing of this partnership. I do understand that at some locations what we're looking at doing this, there's no current activity of ecotour activities, so it would be a new location. In some places there is not necessarily access there, and in some other places we do not have that relationship with parks necessarily there. So yes, this is, I do understand that our sister organization, State Parks, has a number of similar operations, but the ones being contemplated, I think, address different areas of the state. Any more questions? Well, thank you very much for your attention.